All right, welcome back to Finding Truth podcast on Unscripted Truth TV. Logan here with Austin. Uh, milestone night for us. Our 1 year anniversary episode. Pretty big deal for us. We've talked about it leading up to this episode, but as far as milestones go, we haven't really rested on our laurels on the half year and quarter years and 3/4 years. We really just I mean, even this episode, it's going to be business as usual. We just thought we'd mention it just because I think it's a good, if anything, it's a good blueprint for potentially for other people. Lord knows, a year goes by super fast. So if you're worried about the time sink, uh, or time sink it takes to like start a channel and like put effort into it, trust me, dude, it's very possible. It's time will fly by and you'll be at a year before you know it. But so yeah, just a little pat on our own backs, just bringing that up. But other than that, busy week. Unless you got a bunch of rock home enjoyers. Most people know about what happened to Charlie Kirk, or quote unquote what happened to Charlie Kirk. Uh, there's a couple other big headlines that potentially kind of tie into potentially this episode. We might get to it, and we might not. We definitely cover the Charlie Kirk thing, and there was that. Why the other big headline I think was the it almost was Shiloh Hendrix esque, not in the way that not in what it was, but the frenzy that it caused with that train stabbing with the Ukrainian chick, and that might be covered tonight. We'll see. But hopefully, we do have a guest appearance. I did reach out to quite a few people without any replies for whatever reason, and but hopefully we get King Richard on for our big 1 year anniversary. It would be fitting. He has been our only guest, but our best guest as well, and not just because he's our only guest, but he's a great guest to have on. He always brings up great points, great decodes, great conversation. So hopefully he can join us tonight. And then, of course, we will kick it off with the the race that just took place yesterday, and we'll get a little bragging done there. It's almost getting tiring, dude. It's like, can we lose
Yeah.
already? Jeez. Yeah, how you been doing, buddy?
Yeah, I've been as good as can be. A lot going on right now. It's been a all right week, I guess. I mean, for what's all on the line. It's weather's been I mean, I'd say the weather's still been pretty nice for this time of year. I think it's still gonna be pretty nice, I think, all month. Um, at least that's one thing to look forward to is just kind of some more nice, warmer, sunnier days while they're still here. But yeah, it's just kind of been an all right week. Not too much overall in my life going on besides just kind of worrying about the future right now and my job, and with 2 weeks to go and possibly not going to be getting paid, so I got to worry about looking for other jobs or going back to something else, or just kind of worrying about income right now and worrying about what my future holds if I even have to move again or something. So there is a lot of stress and kind of sadness in my life, but it's just kind of something I'm just kind of dealing with off to the side, trying not to let it bring me down and consume me. But yeah, there may be changes to like maybe when we're doing these, and maybe the days or how long we're doing these in the weeks and months ahead, for that reason as well as maybe other reasons. But that'll be something to look forward to after the next couple weeks. We'll have to see what happens, but yeah, so I'm in the midst of kind of everything being up in the air and just kind of a lot going on and a lot of uncertainty and just other things. So it's just kind of definitely a very tough time right now, but just kind of getting through it and just seeing what happens and how I'm going to survive and make a living. But yeah, just that's going to be something we'll probably touch on more in future episodes as well as I figure things out and things kind of hopefully start kind of panning into place and we'll see what happens. But yeah, as of right now, it's kind of moving on, and that'll just kind of be that. But yeah, definitely another week that we've really called, I think, pretty much just to a T. I mean, especially the race. As far as the race is concerned, we hit it off. I mean, everything that we said was pretty much going to happen has happened. Hasn't really been. This race was. I mean, this race. It was kind of weird. I was trying to follow it on YouTube because they've been allowing a lot of the races to just be streamed on YouTube this year, which I never seen before. Usually if someone did, they'd like take it down or they'd never let you do it. But lately they've been like this year, they've been allowing you to kind of stream the races on YouTube or how let people do it. So I've been kind of trying to watch them and see what's going on. And this one, I seen it was on, then they took it down, then it was on, they took it down. Then some other people had it on, they took it down. So I had to just kind of like, mess around with it last night while I was trying to follow it quite a bit, but I missed, like stage 1, stage 2, the ending of that. And then just kind of seeing what I could see. But yeah, it looked, the race looked pretty eventful. There was like 20 some cautions. It was a pretty tire wear was a huge deal. And they're like the way the track was, they had a strip of like asphalt down in like the corners. So, or just like a grip strip. So the tires on like the right side would wear, and it was causing some issues and stuff. And I've seen some fires come out of people, and it was pretty interesting the way the race played out. I know, we had called who would probably make it in out of the 12, and who would be the 4 be eliminated, and we got them all right.
Sure.
As well as the way the race would kind of play out, and who we thought was that Toyota with the had the chance for the 201st win, and they go 3 in a row. Gibbs goes 3 in a row. So 3 Gibbs cars, 3 weeks in a row. Toyota 3 weeks in a row. 201st win for Toyota. It was like the 201st day of the year when Christopher Bell was making his 201st start, and we thought that was going to come through, and it looked like it was going to come through multiple times in that race, and it ended both times with some very strange spins and somehow not getting hit, and just kind of very weird that never came through. But this one, it does come through, and it is Gibbs with the 201, or it is, yeah, Gibbs and Bell with the 201, and what we said it would be, Toyota sweeping the first round of the playoffs. Joe Gibbs sweeping the first round, and I mean the race itself was pretty much kind of what we kind of said it would be too. Kind of people coming and going, and it looked like chances for people that were outside in the playoffs, not in the playoffs, to have a possible win. I think Ty Gibbs like led the most laps. I know he won stage 2. He almost won stage 1, and Briscoe led a lot of laps. So there was pretty much Toyota did really well. Ford did really well too for the most part. So that was kind of, Chevy just really has not showed up the first 3 races, and really it really at all at Bristol. Besides Allmendinger being on the pole, he did pole, but he didn't really stay up there too long and had some other issues. So he was probably the best Chevy car. Really the only one that really did anything the whole race for the most part. I know like Hocevar, he was up there doing really good. He almost had a shot to win, but um, definitely look out for Keselowski. I know he's not in the playoffs, but he definitely could get a win this year. He's got like 3 or 4 second place finishes. He's led a lot of laps. He's done well at the super speedways and the short tracks and kind of all over. And he almost had a shot to win. He ran into Bell in the last lap, but couldn't get the win. But he's someone that could spoil the party, especially at like Talladega coming up in October. So, yeah, it was a pretty interesting race. There was a lot to it, a lot of cautions, a lot of trouble for a lot of guys that were in the playoffs. I know Barry's had trouble every single week in the playoffs. He just completely got screwed over. This is one of the worst playoff runs I've ever seen. But besides, yeah, him, and then Austin Dillon getting eliminated, and Bowman getting eliminated, and Van Ginsbergen getting eliminated. So down to 12 and off to New Hampshire. But yeah, another race, another week that I think we really called it right down to a T, I would say.
Absolutely, dude. We had 2 narratives. We had a strong narrative and like one to keep your eye on. Obviously, the one to keep your eye on being the Byron connection. Anytime, there's a race in Tennessee, pretty much keep your eyes open and check things out. But that didn't end up playing out. But keep in mind, anyway. So yeah. So we were, like you said, our main prediction here was that it looks a lot like they're trying to do another three-peat this time with not just Toyota, but for Joe Gibbs. And this has got to be the fourth or fifth time we've touched on Joe Gibbs, the owner, and and then that spilled out into the long discussion about how sports are all connected. Obviously, him being a former NFL coach, very touted former NFL coach, and things being linked inextricably to these owners. And it's something that I think we should probably hone in on more, especially when you have owners like Jeff Gordon and Michael Jordan. I mean, it's just there might be more stars outside of in the front office of NASCAR sports than the actual track. It's actually crazy. But I mean, you had Pitbull before. I mean, he's since left, but not to say that he's that big, but I think he's bigger than the average NASCAR driver. So it's very interesting in that way. But not just that. It's, we've talked about the old guard. We've talked about these guys who I'm sure have high positions in secret society, masonry. Talk about a guy like Gibbs, his name both ways equals 33. And we've seen so we could go on and on and on. And through masonry, of course, that does bear that connection with the Jesuits, and obviously Vince Lombardi and him being a former NFL coach. It's something, I haven't done a deep dive on the Frances, but it is funny. It's funny automatically without even going too far. Just the last name France is like, I don't even think I need to search that far, just because the Jesuits are from France, and I feel like there's a little bit of a joke there. But not to mention their fingerprints on every track and every city that the tracks are held on. We've covered this a lot, and I think it might be even worth a fun episode when the season's over, since look ahead to next year, because there's going to be some new places that the races are taking place. There's going to be some that are marked off from this year, and some new tracks they're racing next year. We should do a look ahead and try to get ahead of these towns that these races are held in. But without veering off the road, you could say too much more. Christopher Bell, his technically second three-peat. So yeah, we definitely honed in on this if you'd missed it last week. And we were heavy on this narrative. I can't remember if there was gematria to back it up. I want to say that we did spot a couple of interesting numbers to back it up as well. But really, we were just really heavy on this narrative because we were there the first time and we were able to call the three-peat. Of course, I could go over this. I'm sure I'll be telling my grandkids, "Hey, kiddos, the Shriners 400 back in 2025. Oh boy!" But they used him in that Masonic ritual, and that was a Gibbs win for the Shriners 400. So there's another connection to Masonry, and but yeah, that we called that three-peat then, and so we sniffed this one out from a mile away, especially when, like you said, Toyota can get their 201st win, and we felt like we got a little bit of, I don't know, maybe they saw our video or something, but the last time it seemed like almost a lock for Bell to win with those 201s. There was a little fuckery in the race, and we were like, maybe because who is this obvious to? Are there that many people? Is like the decodes of NASCAR becoming the most popular thing on TikTok or something? I wouldn't know. I'm not on there, but it's just like it sure felt like Vegas had to move some money around at the end because people were keen on that Byron narrative. Sorry if I said that, but anyway, I think we're. It's good to be kind of off the snide because we haven't given like the most in-depth look aheads or decodes the last few weeks. And so it feels nice to have, given it some thought and some time last week and talked it out, and we were able to figure it out again. And a lot of thanks to, we had some great comments again this week too. I saw a couple great comments that are something it's definitely to keep in mind. I saw one about, we had one about Kobe, like Kobe's connection to Ryan Blaney, which I had no idea about, but that's very interesting. Kobe being the Black Mamba, the snake, and Ryan Blaney, like I said, could represent that dark horse, which is, both have biblical uh, iconography. That's kind of where it comes from. But anyway, so there was a great comment about that, something I didn't know about, and especially when it comes to all the connections we've seen with Jordan. Obviously, the Jordan and Kobe connection is, poignant for basketball. And anyway, just something, another thing to keep track of and think about. And then another great observation we got was that Briscoe, this race was in the here. Let me show it to everybody because this is a great one. And honestly, something to think about. He was in the Thanks Veterans car. Oh, look at there. Thanks Veterans. Now, this might be outside of NASCAR that I'm thinking this applies more to, because Thanks Veterans has become a very common thing. And when I saw that comment, I was like, there's a Thanks Veterans car? Makes sense enough. But then you think about, all of a sudden it triggered my synapses, and we're like, man, I've seen Thanks Veterans all over the place, because it seems like they're being, caring and thoughtful to the people who fought for our country and everything. And then you look at the numbers and it's just like, what's the joke here? Because I mean, 3 out of 4 with the Jesuit order, that, like, who are they really thinking? Seems like a kind of an inside joke if you were to ask me, because having a guy drive a car that says thank you, is that what you fought for? Was that the payoff? Is your country any safer? Are the people that you found out were the evil ones dethroned? No. So I think this is a big FU to all the people that are awake, especially those that have served, because I think if you can make it out of the military and not be overtaken by it, I think you're pretty much screwed. Because it's like, the way I talk about it now, I almost feel militant about my disdain for the government. But if I was truly in the military and went and did atrocities in the name of the fat cats and the pieces of shit that keep this parade going, and then you come home, no wonder they're on the street. I wouldn't want to spend another cent at any kind of store that even had Visa enabled, like that even allowed Visa cards. I would be like, nope, that's too close. They're not getting anything else. I'm done. They're never going to see, So I can understand but yeah, the Thanks Veterans card, that was a great catch from someone in the community. So, and I'll try to do better, maybe even to take a screenshot and highlight those in the future. I really should. That idea just came to me, even though I probably should have thought of that before, but I'll do that in the future. That way they can get a little shout out as well. So keep those good comments coming, guys.
Yeah, I seen that comment too. I think I just seen that one today. Yeah, and of course the DeWalt car won. Kenseth, he drove the DeWalt, and he won at Bristol a decent amount of times in that car. I know he won there like 20 years ago, 19 years ago. So he's DeWalt definitely got some wins under the belt. So yeah, it was kind of interesting how that played out with like I said, just, Bell just kind of grabbing the lead there, not too many laps to go. And yeah, the race itself, like I said, was pretty good. There was a lot of people had a shot to seem like win, and that's kind of just the way the race was. It was kind of weird. Even like Keselowski at the end, even though he finished second, said he was like really mad and really pissed off and stuff. And it was kind of a weird race, kind of probably something either people liked or didn't like because it was with the way the tire wear was and the way that people had to keep hitting pit road and just the amount of cautions. The race kind of had a slow pace to it, but um, again, I mean, there's so many reasons they do that stuff, just to get the manipulation, the people they want, and the way they want the race to go, and the pace of it and stuff like that. So obviously, a lot goes into that as well, and then yeah, and just how the race, the way it started and stuff. I mean, there was Allmendinger on the pole. We've kind of been talking about him a little bit, but he's someone I'm not in the playoffs. So he's kind of not really that relevant, but um, I forget where Bell did qualify, but yeah, it was kind of one of those races where qualifying didn't really seem to matter. I know so many times this year we've had people on the pole or that they put first end up winning the race. So this was kind of that race where maybe you could make a little bit if maybe you put something on Bell, there was a little bit of a payout. But like I said, it was interesting just the fact that like YouTube was kind of really not wanting people to really see this race and they're kind of going back to their older ways. I mean, that's something maybe they'll keep that up, or maybe it was just this race or the playoffs or elimination round. So it's kind of, or maybe because it was Bristol, who knows? But um, yeah, now with the down to just 12 cars and the 4 guys got eliminated. So I mean, and maybe like I said, even with that road course coming up, Ginsburg can still get a win even though he's not in the playoffs. So that's another narrative too to look at. So and maybe Gibbs is going to get a win too because he keeps knocking on the doors races. He might have a shot to win as well. So yeah, almost all the people in the playoffs had some kind of struggle or incident or problem in the race. So, and there's even like a little bit of a interesting part where probably maybe Bowman at some points was kind of maybe the best Chevy and best Hendrick car and had a shot to possibly win the race and make his way in too. So there was kind of a little bit of drama there and stuff. So yeah, the race really, for the most part, really kind of had everything. So probably one of the better, more interesting races of the year and probably as of late.
And I just kind of want to point something out because that's a great point. He has the chance to play spoiler now, and it kind of so with that narrative that that sort of the greater long shot narrative with Van Gisbergen dying, it does open up the other side of the coin that you've mentioned to where that he can play spoiler in the later stages on these road courses. And best believe, I've already seen a couple of interviews where he's shitting on NASCAR because he's like, on one hand, I appreciate the system for what it is because I was able to get in and have a better seed than I'd ever have just because it's the win and in type situation. On the other hand, they don't have a road course until the second stage, so I'm fucked. So it's like he was even cognizant of that, and in his interviews, he was saying basically, he was like, "Yeah, I like the setup, but like it's going to be really hard in these next 3 races to continue, like to make it through." Um, so look ahead. I would be remiss to say that there within the next few years we will have another shakeup of the way the playoffs are handled. This doesn't seem sustainable. As soon as I figured out how it worked, I was like, it just seems like there's so many variables that don't necessarily like I don't them not having a reasonable subsect of tracks. If they're going to race on them all season long, they need to make them a part of the playoff. It needs to make sense. Something like this, if you want specialists to have, to not, and this is me saying on the up and up. I'm sitting in the boardroom right now, and this is a real league. Okay, this is just my thoughts from that perspective of why they would change things is because of things like this. You're going to have specialists that become potentially fan favorites and are marketable, and they're not going to have a chance in the playoffs, and you're going to have fan bases getting all butthurt or whatever. But also, the variance is what they want and what they need, but they need like more. I think they've realized for a while now that just left turns is not going to keep the brand afloat. Like there's not a lot of ways you can make left turns exciting, week in and week out. You can have more races. You can put trucks making left turns, but it's just not gonna. If you unless you're a fan of racing already, it's like who are the new audiences coming in to see racing? And I think that's one of the reasons why there's so many wrecks nowadays is because the bread and circus loves to see their potential death on the field, death on the track. So there's that might be a something that harbinges in more people. But other than that, what is the big draw for NASCAR? They're going to other countries and doing things like that, but they're if in that aspect they're kind of behind. Uh, other sports leagues have been doing that for a while now and make it a regular thing. And I don't know. It's obviously they're trying to what's the word? Not modernize because it's already modernized, but you know what I mean. It's like it's trying to reach the cool. It's trying to be one of the cool kids. I can't just cling to the same formula forever. Um, so I really do think that some shakeup in the way that the playoffs works and making it possible for specialists to have a better chance, it is going to be something going forward. Um, and by that I mean I think that they're just going to have more varying tracks. You know, you're not going to get back to back weeks on an oval. And it's just like because they could say that is who's the best driver. We're talking about the best driver because if you think about it, the drivers that do the best on oval courses are they not oval specialists? Are they not those track specialists? Well, why is it fair that 90% of the tracks are their type favorites? You know what I mean? Why even offer the road courses if it's not even a viable way into the playoffs, deeper into the playoffs? So there's a case to be made for that. On top of besides the fact that this is rigged and they're just flying by the seat of their pants for ratings and whatever to make it to get their rituals in front of us and make it entertaining enough. That's truly the goal. I'm speaking in like if me and you were to make a league and we're talking like logistics in reality when we but at the same time I do think that these can be the reasons they do switch it up because I do think that they will have to switch it up. And this is someone who's only paid attention to NASCAR for 1 year, but already I can see some flaws that don't seem like very sustainable. Not to mention they're getting sued and fan bases are dropping off and drivers are calling them shit left and right. Like I'm not joking, cussing in their interviews like heavy. I'm not joking. Every interview they're giving, they're dropping like cuss words all in every single article I read. It's Blaney, it's Larson, they're all just like Matt. I don't know if Gisbergen did, but he was definitely upset about the playoffs. This was after like week 1, I think, too.
Yeah, and I did see something that next year they are switching up the playoffs yet again, I
Oh,
guess. I
really?
guess it's gonna be something where it's like um 3 races, and then 4 races or something, is what I heard. Um I think that's what it is. So there's gonna be the way they're gonna go about it, or it's yeah, I think that's what they said was like 3 races, and then 4 races to finish it up. So I'm sure the way they're going to go about it's going to be a lot different. And yeah, it's always ever so often they switch everything up. I mean, they're
Oh,
always
well,
changing things, and
as of the nation's holiday, September 11th, uh, they said that they will not be changing it for next year. So it will
huh,
be the same. Well, then again, they could always change it, but still,
yeah,
at least they're saying ahead of time that there's a NASCAR insider saying that an insider on September 11th. Huh? Oh,
yeah.
no, that was anyway. We'll be talking about that in a little bit, but
I think it was a week ago. I heard that they were changing it or switching it up for next year's. I think it was after the Hamlin win. I heard something. So I guess September 11th they changed their minds.
A lot of people did that day. You know what
Yep.
I mean?
It's 9/11. We're not changing nothing. It's 9/11. Keep it the same.
I got a barbecue to get to. I don't got time for this. What are you celebrating, sir? Nothing. Oh, don't worry. So yeah, what? Speaking of the community, what did you guys all do for 9/11?
Yeah.
It's a holiday here. So anyway, yeah. So oh, by the way, Christopher Bell did start ninth, so potentially some pretty decent cheese if you put money on him. Or what you could have done too is just split up your bets among all three Gibbs drivers. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that would have been a pretty solid
Yeah, because Briscoe didn't
process.
qualify well for once. He rarely qualifies bad this year and qualified 31st.
You bring up qualifying each time, and I keep forgetting because it was just a side note. I just want to bring this up because I think it's funny, and because you see this all the time. And guys, hopefully you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys just see synchronicities and consistencies that don't really. It's like you could just say it's a coincidence because it seems off, and you start to think about it and you're like, what would be the purpose of doing this? But did you see who won the Xfinity race?
Yeah, Eric Almirola.
It's just so weird. You have a name starting with A dot Almirola, and this was posted Saturday or Friday, and also the qualifying was posted Friday. So on the NASCAR on the Cup Series screen, you had AJ Allmendinger. It's just like, how do you have A Alm names back to back? It's something it might not matter. Who cares? But it was just weird. Just seeing AJ Allmendinger and A Almirola. It's just weird.
Eric Almirola. He used to race in the Cup Series too. He got
really?
injured in 2017, I think, or something. He had to get cut out of the car and stuff. He got hit so hard or wrecked and got all messed up.
Michael middle name. Yo, chill out. NASCAR, calm down. So crazy. But Eric that I've never seen Eric spelled like that. That is interesting. I gotta run it. He's hiding something. Rolla. Oh man, they always have such funny names. It reminds me of games that their characters always have some sort of, or cartoons where the character always has a name similar to the theme of what they are. It's just in NASCAR, there's so many chases, Carson, Van Gisbergen.
We got 3 Austins in the race.
Yeah. Dick Trick. That might be the best one ever. Ooh-wee. Oh yeah, Michael. I better not catch him in the Cup Series, or else I'll know what he's all about. He's got the 54. Mm-hmm. Anyway, weird way to spell Eric. Interesting, but yeah, he actually he took a night off. He let somebody else win.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Zilich took the night off. He decided to finish 5th.
Yeah, he just mailed it in, finished 5th. Yeah, you got these guys fighting for their lives, and he's just cruising. Put it on cruise control. He's gonna get fined after the race for having an extra module installed in his car, and you're gonna find out it was a cruise control module. He wasn't even trying. So good. But yeah, we'll see where that goes. I mean, the only thing I can assume is that Zilich is going to take it home. Of course, because I don't see the need to really shake up the Xfinity Series. I don't know. Maybe it is just similar in popularity to Cup Series because I don't know, because there's only one race a week in the Cup Series, so they need more. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Maybe it is popular, but from where I'm seeing it, it's almost like a farm system. Even though you have a lot of Cup Series drivers threatening to like, I want to go to Xfinity, which is like weird, but um, yeah, I think it's another one to add to the resume, and another good week where we find some vindication in our ability to spot these narratives. And moving forward, here's what I'll say. I'll let you make your prediction next. I'm going to. I have to send a quick email out to King Richard, make sure I get him an invite. But before I do that, I will say the way the playoff picture is shaping up at this moment. On the, it obviously depends how these next three races go, but Logano and Cindric on the outside looking in of the top, in the top 12, let's say it finished similar to this. I would love that. I would feel like I would feel like the dreams happened, because that's how I envisioned them doing it. Like I said, I have sports center brain, so a lot of these things I just like harken back to how I know they like to set these like playoffs and these events up for maximum drama and something, a big headline that people think is always new and like big, when if you pay attention and you're just not inundated so much every year drinking and all these other things that people do with sports, you'd realize that they say the same thing to you every fucking year. And, or every other year they do the same thing, and you just think it's some new thing because it's like, what, a new team or a new player doing it. So, but anyway, I wouldn't mind Blaney being the only Ford left. I would feel like that would almost, I don't know, it all but guarantee it for me. That is the dark horse. That's the dark horse. The more Fords in this playoff picture, the less that makes sense for the dark. And they all drive dark horse Mustangs. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. And to call him a dark horse when he is one of the best drivers this year, that's another interesting thing that I could hear your takes on that. But I think never mind Ryan Blaney. I think it's Ford is the dark horse to win, even though they've three-peated. I think they're setting it up this season to make Chevy and Toyota look leagues above, which they have this season. And then once the playoff gets here, when does I just spoke on this couple weeks ago, last week, about how they love doing that. I talked about Gonzaga, and I talked about all these like top, they'll go undefeated. Alabama was really good at doing that. Of course, they did get a lot of championships, but they loved using Alabama to go undefeated into the tournament to like lose to Auburn or Georgia or Florida, just at the some other team, or they've lost to some weaker ones too. But anyway, they love using those juggernauts as those Cinderella teams too, as the to kind of like bring everybody back down to reality, and realize they live in shit. But anyway, yeah, I do. I think for the second stage, I think Logano's going to get out. I do think that there will be two Fords left, but as far as this list goes, it's interesting. I mean, we're still waiting on the Reddick win. So once again, he's right back to where he was on the first stage. Or just, before the playoffs, he was just praying to get in. He got in. And then after this stage, he was just praying not to get eliminated. He didn't get eliminated. And now he's right back there. So it looks like that's what they're doing with him. We'll see if he's able to stave off elimination again, or if we'll lose all of Jordan's drivers in the second stage.
Yeah, I mean, and Logano's been stepping up too. Another top five at Bristol. He's been really stepping up lately. I mean, in the races, and even if he's not getting the finishes, he's doing well in the races and leading laps. And um, I mean, I could see him possibly getting eliminated this upcoming round. Just depending on what happens, I could even see Cindric as well getting eliminated. Um, I mean, yeah, I mean, like you said, with just Ryan Blaney being that, and that's kind of the way it was kind of 2 years ago. It seemed like it just the way Ryan Blaney won that one, and I could see uh, just the way the season has gone along. It does seem like there is something definitely there for Blaney. The way these races are going, and the way even the stages are going, and just the way he's been performing, like when it matters most. The way he's been that car, and Logano's had that potential too this year. So I mean, I could see Logano getting knocked out. Um, Maybe he does make it through. It's possible. And right now too, I mean, even like Chase Elliott, he's been kind of just dead in the water. Larson, I mean, they've
Mhm.
pretty much all the Chevys for the most part have been kind of dead in the water. I mean, Ross Chastain, you haven't heard anything from him really too much as of late. I mean, he was like barely even like seen or talked about at Bristol. So, um, but he could still be someone that's around. I mean, he's been in the Final Four before, and he's won the last race just 2 years ago, and then Blaney finished second, so he won the championship. But uh, yeah, I mean, this is when it gets tough. Is the final the 12, and then even like the final eight or the final eight can be tricky too. Uh, Seeing who goes down to eight, and then the final four. But this is kind of where you kind of see the narrative for who's going to get it and stuff. With I mean, I know that a lot of different racetracks and stuff coming up, and a lot of different people have. You got a road course, you got a super speedway still, you got I think there's still some more short tracks, and of course, with the Ford dominance at Phoenix being that last race, uh, really puts like I said, just so much emphasis on the Fords, and I could see maybe Hamlin gets maybe one more win this year, or maybe he doesn't. Uh, Hard to say. Like Byron too lately, he's been kind of somewhat quiet too. So I'm kind of waiting to see maybe is he going to be that one Chevy driver that makes the final four? He's finished third the last 2 years, so he's made the final four. So you got to think that he's might be that. I mean, to me, he's probably been definitely the most probably consistent Chevy all year because like Chase Elliott's only got that one win, but he hasn't really been that consistent, especially as of late. Same thing with Larson; he's just totally fallen off. It seems so. Um, that's kind of the way I'm seeing that. And Bell seems like someone that could be a spoiler this year too. Maybe the Toyota, if it doesn't go to like Hamlin, maybe Toyota it would go to Bell. Briscoe though too, he's just qualified so well, and he's just kind of been, this first year with the team, and he's just been a qualifying for machine almost every single week. So I mean that the people that are in it right now, I mean that I think that seems pretty accurate. But I could definitely see maybe like a Chase Elliott falling out. I mean, um, Bubba's done really well as of late, but he hasn't had a lot of the finishes to show, and that's something where I could possibly see him get knocked out this next round. But the season he's had, I almost feel like he's definitely got to be in at least the round of eight. I don't know if he's got what it takes to be in the round of four, but um,
Well, he has the
yeah,
skin color it takes, so he
yeah,
might have exactly what it takes to get deep into the
he had
playoffs.
it. He had it at the Brickyard, that's for sure. Needs the Brickyard to be in there.
So yeah, yeah, very good points about Larson and Elliott too. Just Hendrick overall, they they definitely won early and often. Maybe other than Chase Elliott, he got his win, but Larson was a winning machine uh, pretty early on into the season, or at least was a top five in wins machine. Well, I think he won three this year. Correct me if I'm
Yep.
wrong, but he also I feel like he had quite a few top fives. And so I think he definitely coasted into the playoffs, obviously with the wins, but like as far as his in the points chase, just through how many top fives he's got. But closer to the end here, he's been almost non-existent. And same for Elliott. really bad finishes for Elliott as of late too. I don't know what that's kind of beckoning in or not. Byron seems like he's been the most consistent out of all three. Um,
Yeah, and Byron had a really, I mean, winning the 500 Daytona, starting off with the win last year and this year, and he's been, last year he had 3 wins. They're all kind of earlier, and then he didn't really have anything the rest of the season. He just kind of went winless, but still made his way to the Final Four. And then this year he's been pretty much the same way. I mean, really good in the beginning. He had a shot to win like 6, 7 races this year, and he only has 2 wins, but he said, led the most laps and dominating and did so well and had, so close to how many wins this year. He could have had 6, 7 wins. He's only got 2. Um, as of late, though, it died down like it did last year. He was really good in the beginning. Then the end, he just kind of was consistent or kind of sputtered out. But that's kind of seems like what he's done this year too. Just kind of repeat last year. Just do good in the beginning, get those wins, and then just kind of coast along. That's kind of what it seems like. So I'm wondering, um, is he going to get a win before the season is out? I could definitely see it. But he might be just someone that just kind of hangs along consistently and is maybe that one uh, Chevy driver that has a narrative. But yeah, I really feel like this next round is going to be interesting with the next few races to see how they shake this one out with 3 races. I mean, is it going to be? I mean, are the Fords going to start winning and stepping up? Is it going to be the Chevys? Um, I mean, because it seems like right now, I mean, Toyota and Ford have all the momentum, but I mean, it's like I said, I mean, I don't really. It seems like the narrative is kind of going to be won or lost in the next this upcoming round, because then you only have uh, 4 races remaining after that. You got the 3, and then that cuts it off. Then it's the one final race at Phoenix. So um, you always kind of got that narrative as to who you think is going to kind of be there, and then who's kind of building momentum at the right time, uh, and you're kind of seeing it, with the Fords. Like I said, Logano, he just stepping up, whether he gets the finish or not. He's been top 5 or winning material. The Fords, I mean, Keselowski this year, and there's another Fords that have done well. Uh, but right now, with kind of Chevy being quiet, haven't won in over a month, you got to wonder when they might try and get the momentum back, and who is it going to be? I mean, a win, then you make the final 8, but uh, I don't know. I could definitely see a Hendrick driver getting knocked out in the next round. Um, with the way they've been performing. Maybe Chase Elliott, or Larson, but um, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And then all these other people. I mean, people like Bubba Wallace that have just kind of been having that kind of dream season, really stepping up, doing really well. Got the big Brickyard win and doing well every week, but he hasn't had a lot of the finishes to show. So, um, yeah, I expect a lot of drama the next few weeks. I know the next race be in New Hampshire. Uh, that'll be. And then like I said, all the other races this year will be on a Sunday, so they'll all be day races. That was the last night race, so this will be a pretty interesting finish. With just, and again, there's only 7 races to go, and that's not that long. I mean,
mhm.
November 1st or 2nd is the very last race, so um, the weeks are flying, and there's not a lot of time. So right now, it's kind of like it's this is the stage of the playoffs. Everything really builds, and who's going to be in the round of 8. And then I feel like once you kind of see that round of 8, I feel like that's where you can kind of really start to see who you feel is going to be like the winner. Like just like you said with Ryan Blaney, I agree 100%, because just the way he's performed this year, the way he's done when you got to go, when it's time to win or it's time to show up or lead or win a stage or lead or do something. Blaney's been that guy. Logano is picking it up right now though too, but he's going to have his luck a lot with a lot of other people moving forward right now at the next round.
Yeah, good points. I'm doing a little bit of a look ahead here. Interestingly enough, Bell won New Hampshire last year.
Yeah, he won both races last year. Swept
Oh,
them.
I see. Well, that's quite interesting. You look at Christopher in New Hampshire with the 3 cipher match with 158 and 185 being a reshuffling, but we talk about Freemasonry with Gibbs, and those numbers very prevalent in Freemasonry as well with the 139, 158, and 59. Common numbers, we talk about them all the time, especially 58 and 59. Also 139. Those numbers come up all the time. Obviously 33 might be the more common, or at least the more popular number tied to them, but these are no slouches. That's a interesting just first look into it thing. Of course, this isn't like a future telling machine, so this very well could be part of the narrative for why he's won the last two races and not this race. I'm just pointing that out, that even if it was for the last race, it's something to notch in your brain. Christopher has these numbers, and I think we've noticed that Christopher has these numbers before. I just haven't ever compared it, obviously, to New Hampshire. But then also, check out New Hampshire Motor Speedway with the 129. We talk about this quite often, it being 201 in base 8 counting. I'm sure that there's other. You look at NHMS, it's acronym 54 twice.
New England.
Obviously, Jesuit order equals 54, so to see it there twice. Good stuff. Sure, it's a coincidence. But yeah, let's take a look, see here. 4.6, unheard of.
I think the Xfinity has the 201, because it used to be a 300-mile race, but they changed it for 301. I think that was back in like 2007 or something. But I think the Xfinity might be a 201 for the race, maybe, if they're going to New Hampshire.
Kansas. Oh wait, no, that's never mind. Wait, oh, they have the week off. I guess they have the week off, and they're not going to New Hampshire.
Huh.
Ooh. The USA Today 301. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, who would want
Unless the trucks might be going to New Hampshire, maybe. I don't know.
Good point. Yeah, I never looked there. They are going to New Hampshire.
Oh, the 175, huh?
I love their
It's like
acronym.
the 201, we can't have that. We're gonna just do the 175 instead, because that 201, man, we can't
People
put
are
that.
starting to see it.
Yeah.
We can't just put it everywhere anymore. Merrimack County. What was I? Oh yeah, the USA Today. USA Today 47. 106 like NASCAR. We've noticed that with a lot of the sponsors of the races. They have numbers that correspond just straight across to NASCAR. Just NASCAR's numbers. It's crazy. It's like you wonder why they're sponsoring today's race or whatever. All right. I think it's two different areas. Yeah. Okay. So let's look up Merrimack County. I like doing this kind of stuff. Tend to find some good connections. So Merrimack County, 72, like Jesuit order. Let me double check the spelling, just so I've been known to make a mistake or two. Oh, Merrimack County. Let's try that. New Hampshire. Oops.
What's their slogan? Live free or die? or
New Hampshire's?
yeah, something like that.
Oh, look it up. Says it's in the Loudon. Wow. I hope probably no rituals happening in Loudon. Huh? No, never
Yeah, I
any
remember we
rituals.
I remember we looked at this before. Maybe either
Did
we
we?
did or I did with the Loudon with the 81s and 27s.
Oh, okay. I don't remember doing that.
Maybe I
For
put it in
those
there.
that
Maybe we
don't
didn't.
know what I'm talking about, the 81 27. I mean, pretty rare you see those repetitive ritual. So let's see. New Hampshire. New Hampshire, sir. The 266.
And the 86, there's been some 86 they got rid of some people at New Hampshire before.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
back in 2000, Adam Petty and Kenny Irwin Jr. both died in 2000. Both their throttles hung going into the corner, and they both died the same exact way, a skull fracture.
that's interesting.
They died,
Okay.
yeah, they died 56 days apart too.
Hmm.
I think I've gone over this. I think we've gone. It was a long time ago I talked about this, but yeah,
We
they
should go back and look into that at some point. We should go over all the NASCAR deaths. It was fun looking up, like I remember doing the Autodromo brothers, Hermanos, when the Mexico race. And yeah, that was a great deco because I doubt the average person knows about the sick ritual. That's the back, that track is on the back of the two Formula One brothers that died on the track.
Yeah, this was the last race where Jeff Burton led every single lap back in 2000. He led all 300 laps.
Live free or die. Hmm. If this is free, then I don't know.
79, 74.
The 133. Michael Jordan's got that. Maybe it's the 113. Anyway, that's interesting. John Stark. Hmm. Yeah, the motto came pretty late. After World War II. Wonder what the idea behind that is. Hey, that'd be weird to just have to be surrounded by a bunch of states that like have decided on a slogan, but you just don't have one until after after World War II. All of a sudden, you got a slogan. Oh, it just came to me. Live free or die. It's like, what? Did you hear Hitler say it or something? I don't. Who are you? Where'd you get this slogan from?
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, looking ahead. Right off the bat, Christopher Bell looking primed. I always forget Homeboy's birthday. Seriously, need to write these things down. What's the 1122 10? What? What? All right, sure. And, just NASCAR 106. I'm sure that's just part of their address. I'm sure.
The track length too, it's just over a mile with that 58 in there, like Freemasonry.
Yes, very true.
It's kind of a weird length.
A Magic Mile.
There's always been weird races and weird stuff that happens at this race. There was like that weird restrictor plate race in 2000. Jeff Burton leading every single lap. It was the last time someone led every lap in a race. I know Byron almost should have done that this year at Darlington. Should have beat that, but I think he did beat it in the total number of laps, just not every lap led, but total number of laps he did lead more than just 300. But
Magic Mile has that 72 and 54 like Jesuit order. You've been noticing that? Pretty prevalent. Let's go see what the odds are for some of these drivers real quick, and then we will move things along. Just go down the playoff picture here, December 31st. Wait, did I already have it set up? I can't remember. Yeah, it won't be the 21st. From his last birthday till his next birthday, 101 days. Interesting. Similar to 11, the master number. Ryan's got that 58 like Freemasonry too. Trey's got that 93. Saturn.
And I think the first race at New Hampshire was in 1993.
Well, Magic Mile and Ryan Blaney got that 45-54. Could be a magic 300 miles for him.
Does that mean it's Gibbs or Reddick's turn to get a win this year, maybe?
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if Reddick can get off the snide and propel himself into this.
Go 4 in a row for Toyota too, yeah.
Let's see how far they can take it. It would be very interesting if you get a 23XI sweep on the back of it, just right after. Just Fords and Chevys are just crying. But I wouldn't fret. 120 days since his birthday to this race. Talk about Illuminati. Born on the 144th day of the year. Interesting. This next one is 35 weeks on the nose. Joey Thomas Logano. I should remember these numbers, but I don't. 75 Agora to Chaos. That's right. That's the 43 Nike Nascar. We've talked about that. What win was that for Bell? Kind of curious now. It was his 13th win.
It's 4th of the season too.
Yeah, 13 is 4 in numerology as well.
So about half of his wins are in the DeWalt car.
Yeah. And they're yelling it now. They used to say it, whisper it into your ear, and now they just scream it from the rooftop.
Yeah.
All caps, DeWalt. Okay. Who is this guy, by the way? He's rather young. He's
Yeah, he's just
23.
one of those newbies. Yeah,
It's just the
James Smith
name.
did really good too. He almost had a shot to win. He was one of the best Fords too.
He's only 26. June 9th,
Born six,
99.
yeah, 6'9", 99. Sounds like a price tag.
Just 4 easy payments. It's just weird because I don't know how you pronounce his last name. It's just seeing Corey Haim, or it's probably Haim.
I'm thinking Haim. Yeah,
Okay. Either way, it's still pretty similar to the defamed child star. Of course, you have Corey Feldman. If you don't know about him, he went on a podcast tour a few years back, and now he's like picking up his like musical career and everything. But he was outspoken about child trafficking and the industry and all that stuff like that. This is like before even like Epstein was like at the top of everyone's list or like on the tip of everyone's tongues. But he's been like I think he's been a pretty staunch either Michael Jackson defender or I think a defender because I'm pretty sure he went to Michael Jackson's house back in the day, or at least that's the story. And he said that things were mostly on the up and up or something like that. I can't remember. Either that or he was talking about how I can't remember. Yeah. Anyway, just seeing that name is interesting. Kind of threw me off. But anyway, more down the line. Good old Chasey boy. Chase David Wayne. So many December. I should write all these out and see what months these people's birthdays are in the remainder of the playoffs. So like when I type them in, it's like, man, there's a lot of December birthday. I mean, I've shown you guys and talked about it multiple times, but there are a lot of, I don't know what the idea is or to just see such a large subsect of drivers. They almost all have winter birthdays, like almost all of them. It's just interesting. It's something that's interesting. I don't really know what it means, but maybe you could tell me. But it's interesting.
maybe they like those winter birthdays because that's their little off season they have. They have the shortest off season besides wrestling, which never has an off season. Wrestling is year round, but NASCAR is the second shortest off season of everything. So might have your birthday when you're off. Don't have to worry about nothing. Like Blaney Bear.
Well, he's 40 weeks on the nose from his birthday to the next race. See where that sits or fits. November. Hmm. 69 days to his next birthday.
'69 like an Illuminati.
Yep. Let's check in our boy Reddick. January 11th, 111. $253 days from his birthday. His next one is 112. 16 weeks on the nose. This upcoming race is the 101st day left in the year, or leaves 101 days left in the year. Kind of goes with something previous we saw. Was it Bell? That was like 101 days from his birthday. I can't remember. Bad memory. Good old Ross. Calm down, Ross. It's all good.
Yeah, I was gonna say is Ross, like Royd Ross right there in the picture.
Yeah. Roy Chastain. December 4th. Wow. Who could have guessed? "74 days from Tua's birthday." What else we got? Of course, we can be comparing from that last wins and stuff of that nature, but we do got to push it ahead to the next topic here. I just want to do some due diligence since there's not as many people in the to look up for, at least for the playoffs. Goodbye, Sweet Prince. Cindric. September 2nd. Oh, okay, so his birthday. That's right. We talked about this. His birthday was pretty recent. 19 days ago when this race goes. Okay. Seem like anything that I've noticed. Hamilton's November 18th. Might be worth looking into the owners when I have time this week. 58 days. And what's Denny sitting on? He's
59
waiting
again.
59. Yeah. So another Freemason number. Let me just show people. There's our boy. "59 wins. His next will be his 60th. Ooh. You wonder if he gets that, though. You might like him sitting on that 59. It's a good number, and they like that number. Be even more interesting if he never got another win. End his career with 59 wins. I can see it. Racing for Gibbs, I can see it. "60 weeks from his next birthday. So, 3 days, but still. Clarkson, Mr. 201. "52 days from his birthday. His birthday leaves 153 days left in the year, too. we've talked about that with Larson. There's a lot of Jesuit order connections with Larson. I guess numbers wise. Be interesting to go look and see where all these guys went to school as well. It's maybe something I should do in my free time. Let's look to his next birthday, 313. 10 months, 10 days. Who else? Not feedback. You suck. How about that?
Garbage.
You garbage.
Garbage.
Bubba.
Bubba.
Come on, Bubba. Finish these races, buddy. What are you doing?
He was born in '93, the same year New Hampshire had the first race.
93, like Ryan Blaney. Or Ryan Michael Blaney? I can't remember. 17 days from his birthday. Wait, did I get his October 8th? 2 weeks and 3 days. Like 23, racing for 23XI. A little bit of a long shot there. Just thought I'd point it out. He's born with 84 days left in the year as well. So that Jesuit order connection. Obviously 17 is a huge number with the Masons as well. Modern for Freemasonry. The first lodge or whatever was in 1717, and Mason equals 17. So
Scale equals 17.
And they've used him heavily in that Shriners race. I've talked about this a lot, but so they're willing to use him for these Masonic rituals as well, with him being the black driver of the league. I think there's a little bit of a joke going on there. For those of you that don't know about Freemasonry, I will leave it up to you to do your due diligence to figure out what I'm talking about. What do black people in Freemasonry have to do with anything?
Like Matt Kempis always drove the 17, and they call this pit crew the Killer Bees, and 17 equals kill, and Killer Bees at the black and yellow and the DeWalt. So
also, bees is like an Illuminati symbolism. It symbolizes like the hive and like the drones type of symbolism. It's still like used to this day. There's a lot of symbology with bees.
Yeah.
November 28th. It'd be interesting to see Elliot jump in here. Kind of revitalize. You wonder if that's what they want to do with, each stage of the playoffs, is to kind of like propel someone forward to make it to jack up the excitement. So you don't just have a guy like Chase Elliott just fizzle and fizzle and fizzle each week, because like we talked about, it's like these are different because like it's one thing to cheer on a sports team, in every other most other types of like leagues, you have teams and you can like individual players, but you're not going to have, in NASCAR on average, you're not going to have fans of a garage. It's like, oh, I'm a huge Gibbs garage fan. I love the garage. And then, and then you'll have some people that like Denny Hamlin, who plays for the Gibbs garage. It's not like that. You know what I'm saying? People are attached to the drivers themselves, not necessarily the garage. So it's like you don't have teams as much in this sport. And so it's an individual sport is what I'm kind of trying to say. And so it'd be, it'd be in their best interest to keep as much excitement for as many people as possible. Different winners, different, outcomes, different people in the playoffs, highs and lows in the playoffs for a lot of different drivers. and not just like the same old, same old. So like to have Chase Elliott just fizzle out, the last half of the season seems like it wouldn't be, unless they're trying to kill his brand. It doesn't seem like, which I doubt they are, with Hendrick being such a name in racing. So something to think about. Will they, kind of revitalize Chase Elliott in the second round to make it, because I think you could argue right now that like of the drivers in the second round, like he's been performing pretty poorly compared to a lot of the other drivers that have, that anyway, that maybe didn't get their win, or he got a lot of his best finishes early in the year, and has been kind of coasting in on that when other drivers are hotter now and are kind of more exciting. Anyway, 68 days from his birthday, or to his next birthday. And his day leaves 33 days left in the year, his birthday.
Perfect day for Chase.
So the 48, and he's got the 129 we've talked about. The 69 like Illuminati. Actually, 48 and 69. 48 and 69 like Illuminati. I would assume we've talked about that. It seemed kind of fresh in my mind when I just said that. So maybe we've never talked about that. Anyway, as always, guys, it wasn't, we got a couple big topics to cover here. I'm sure people are waiting with anticipation for our take on, and our takes. At least that's what my ego tells myself, on the Charlie Kirk situation. So we'll let that sit here. But I do want to say, keep the comments coming for, because the playoffs are only going to last, like you said, until November, and that'll be a blink of an eye. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun interacting with you guys these last few weeks with the influx of people here, and yeah, it'd be good to keep this thing going. More information helps all of us, and yeah, if you guys notice something that you guys have more time to look into these things, and I'll try to put some time aside this week. And as always, if I see anything that stands out, I definitely will drop a community post that you guys can kind of link up there throughout the week if I see something, or if I get good comments, I will try to compile them if it's pointing towards a certain narrative to work out. But it's kind of an interesting thing. It's like you're getting resets of the season every 3 races. It feels like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like a reset right now. So it's just kind of like up in the air. There's nothing that like stands out because it's not like a definitive race. It is a definitive race, and but it doesn't, because it's the first race of the second stage, it just doesn't feel like it. Just like the first game of a 7-game playoff series doesn't have the same oomph as the 4th or 5th. You know what I mean? The stakes aren't as high. So with that being said, you very well could see one of these non-playoff drivers get a win here. It does seem like a good spot for that to happen. These consolation prizes that I talk about all the time. We got Gibbs on the outside looking out. Keselowski's had, been doing great as of late, and it'd be a big deal for him to get a win and kind of cement his season. I'm sure there's other drivers I could think about. It'd be interesting to give Busch his flowers, because even though he said he's racing for a few more years, I don't know. We'll see. So yeah. Keep the comments rolling in, and they're super appreciated, and great to see all you guys' thoughts and observations. But as far as the big picture of the week, of course, we have the Charlie Kirk situation. Now, I was hoping, I think something must have come up with King Richard. He more than likely isn't making it this week. I still hold out hope. If he shows up, he shows up. It'd be great. But I was kind of hoping he could go over his decode. He put out a great video. Obviously, Zach put out several great videos on this exact topic. He broke the news for me. In fact, I was outside building or working on my shed and listening to him. And so, I woke up that morning. I had no idea about this, which is kind of how it fitting because I get most of my news from Zach, honestly. But yeah, this let me paint the overall picture because I don't need to go into dislike this guy or whatever it is. I will say this just off topic for real briefly though. I watch a lot of things on YouTube that I do not necessarily like. I like keeping my, fingers to the pulse of where narratives and where things are going. I don't subscribe to the channels, but I watch a lot of different channels that, for better or worse, they're just kind of mainstreamy. And some of them I still get a chuckle out of. Some of them still do like to meme it up a little bit, and that can be funny and everything. So there's some level of entertainment I get out of it, which for better or worse. But a lot of channels I watch, I don't agree with what they talk about or their sentiments or their beliefs or anything like that. But I just kind of pay attention to their leanings and their stories they cover and what's hot and trending and what is the, what's the takeaways that's going to shape the people around me's point of views and things like that. And I can just say this, for the last few weeks, he has been everywhere. It's like he's a popular guy. He's really popular. He's been really popular for a good year or so now. He's been very popular. But there was this spike in both hate and defensive love of this guy. You have a bunch of haters coming out of the woodworks. It's like, I'm sure you've heard about Nick Fuentes and characters like that. These high profile characters that are just thrown onto the stage, and we're supposed to respect them when these are the most little puny weirdos that you've ever seen, but they have this crazy amount of sway in politics and this in the social sphere, similar to Charlie Kirk here. At least with Charlie Kirk, he went out and was able to act very well. He was able to, stick to, people can speak well. And honestly, spell casting, the best spellcasters are the best speakers. Think of Obama and all these, Reagan, a lot of, these presidents that were slick talkers, Trump, he's been a slick talker for most of his career, just able, nowadays it's a lot of and trailing off, but in his earlier days, he was able to just quick-wittedly keep things going, and that in and of itself is a skill, and it's something at least he was entertaining to watch just because he was able to argue so well. But and not to say that he was right with his arguments, but that he could argue. That's the art of arguing he was good at. It was pretty plain to see if they were not all scripted, whatever it may be. But he's been propelled. They really definitely set this guy up to be a focal point before all of this happened. In like I said, negative channels about him, positive channels about him. It's just he's just been popping up everywhere. But so yeah, on top of that. So yeah, I'm not surprised. We've talked about this. We've talked about the state of things and the ramping up of the Second Amendment, kind of the marks against it that are going to continue to leave marks against it until there's radical change to our Constitution, and you're going to have so many crabs in the buckets that are going to be no, this is necessary. They can kill us. You could die going to the store. You could do that. there's shooters everywhere. They're on the rooftops. Anyway, all these narratives are, we see the writing on the wall with that. I won't go too in depth with that. Hopefully you guys understand what I mean by that, that they've been stripping away the foundation of most amendments, but especially the Second Amendment and First Amendment. So the other narrative on the other side of that is this narrative of like deranged politics-based assassins that are all like pretty much relatively younger, for the most part. Most of them have been younger, especially as of late, and linked to the LGTV transformer community. They like doing that, which is it's just this weirdly antithetical thing, because what they present to you with the liberal or / democratic point of view is that they are more okay with taking away guns for the most part for school safety and things. They're okay ramping up the like government outreach when it comes to that. But then if you try to tell them not to cut your kid's dick off, they're like, stay out of my rights. These are my rights. These are human rights. It's constitutional. And it's just like, okay. But here you have this weird merging where it's like supposedly all the shooters are trans. So it's just like, okay, whatever. And it's just like you see that same thing with this story. Not that this guy was a trans necessarily, but he was apparently like a roommates with a trans person who was like texting about it, blah blah blah. This is all just show bullshit. But it made for a pretty exciting day, because you had, I believe, a school shooting the same day. And I want to point something up because I never got into Zach's chat when it mattered most to try to point this out. And because I didn't, they scrubbed the video. But they were, let me at least, you know what? I'd have to go onto my other account to show it in my history. It wouldn't be that much of a reach. But anyway, so it was this news broadcast the day of. And the reason I clicked on the video was because it was like this kid smiling. And I was like, what? The news is posting a picture of a kid smiling about this? So I click on it, and it had to do with a news anchor, a female news anchor, who was reporting on the Kirk. She's in Utah. And apparently her son went to UVU, and he was there in line waiting to talk to Charlie Kirk when it happened. And he was she wanted him to give his account. And it was very odd because she was leading the entire conversation, leading him to talk. He had a big fat piece of gum sticking out of his mouth the entire interview. It's like, they're just trying to infuriate you. It's like, spit it out. Stop. It's just sitting there the entire interview. Anyway, but he gave a great gem. About halfway through this interview, he talks about how it was a big event for him because he brought a bunch of his friends, because when he was a senior, he had friends that were juniors, and so they're still in high school. And he said he was going to bring a bunch of his friends down, and they were supposed to meet him there, but they weren't able to make it because they had an active shooter drill at their high school that day. And I'm like, what? So at high school right down the road from UVU was holding an active shooter drill with police. So police had picked today of all days right down the street from UVU to be doing active shooter drills in a particular high school. And if you guys don't know about active shooter drills, these things are now you don't tell the kids. You don't even sometimes tell the teachers or something, as far as I know. These things are meant to be, I think some teachers definitely know, or all the teachers do, but they don't tell the kids at all. It's like a live reaction on, how kids react, and if they're going to be subservient to all the orders and commands of the teachers and things of that nature. Back in the day, they would tell us that these drills are happening. They don't do that anymore. So yeah, just add that to the list of, and it was at Bingham High School. Good luck looking it up, because apparently on the 5th, they had a they shut the school down because there was a potential shooting there too. So I looked it up because that's where he said the high school was. He said it was at Bingham High School. His friends weren't able to make it meet him there when he first got there because they had a active shooter drill at their high school. But yeah, I tried to look it up. Just good luck. You would have to go off this interview that they took off the channel. I went and looked for it. I've looked everywhere for it. It doesn't exist anymore. It was posted on the news website's YouTube, and it's gone. So really should have archived that, and that's my bad. And then the only other thing I have to add to that, interestingly enough, on his Twitter, on his X, I guess I can pull this up. And then we can get into the nitty gritty of what all this means and everything too. I just kind of want to bring up these points because I think that it needs to kind of be out there in the sphere of information one way or another. So if you guys aren't familiar, he does not post much to this account, or at least not off the top. So the latest post was the day he died. He had his producer host his show, the Charlie Kirk Show, and this thing is shot up in views. By the way, this thing is shot. When I watched it the day of, it was not nearly as many views. But titled "We Don't Have to Live This Way." That's the name of the episode. So yeah, you're telling me. But do you remember Zach talking about that Nick Shirley kid? The street interviewer?
Yeah, I think so.
So he is prominent on this episode, and he's doing street interviews on Chicago and the gangs of Chicago. And he's interviewing this guy who had been shot like 4 times, and he's interviewing about his whole segment in the Charlie Kirk Show was about like gang violence, but in a way, guys, that's the Republicans' way of fucking with the Second Amendment. Is they'll blame gang violence, and then the liberals will blame mass shooters and incels. You know what I'm talking about? They each have their own way of like attack. If you don't think Republicans are anti-gun, they are. They're anti-gun. They're using these gangs and the gang violence to get Republican-headed people to say there's too many guns. These guns are unmarked. We need regulation. What do you think regulation leads, dipshit? Anyway, like we don't have enough already. He's interviewing this guy, and he has a bullet still lodged in his rib. And either way, he's interviewing all these guys about guns and shootings and needless violence and things of that nature. But I thought it was really funny because like that's the center, or like they cut the segment and they go to him talking to his producer in the studio after this guy says he asked him why'd they shoot you, and he's like, they just shot me for being me. I literally heard that exact phrase that someone posted. They shot Charlie Kirk just for being him. Like I saw that phrase, and so I like highlighted that. I was like, wow, of course they say that. And then the only other I don't have the direct quote. I should have wrote it down, but the producer, right before he goes to like an ad read, he says, he makes mention of how, and you guys can watch it. It's right here. It's this exact video I'm pointing at. So it's not gone. You can check on it. I know the Nick Shirley part is right around 43 minutes. And then the producer part is somewhere near there where he says, he's covering because obviously on this day, Charlie Kirk was at the UVU campus. And he says something like there's sure to be a lot of like, exciting footage coming out of Utah later today, something like that. And it seems like something somebody would maybe say, blah blah blah. But it's just like Charlie Kirk does an episode all the time, pretty often. One of these college campus Q&A things pretty often. Did you see how crazy this one was? they had apparently like less than 10 officers on hand, and there was like thousands of people there. It's like at Utah, he's
Yeah.
gone to like prominent colleges all over the country, and they've been like reasonable crowds. Like they show the crowds, and it's like a field of grass, and it's just scattered people, and a bunch of people right at the front, but mostly just scattered. But at this one, there's thousands of people. They were there to see a public execution, and that, whether it was real or not. I'm saying that's what that represented. I'm telling you guys. But so yeah, I just wanted to throw those two things out there. I really wish I had the video because that was a really poignant thing. I really wanted to bring it this week. I watched it and I thought it would be there. I shouldn't have done that. I should have screenshotted a bunch of it and quoted it. But if anyone can try to scrub, maybe the Wayback Machine can do it or something like that. But I have the link. It just is a dead link now. So I would be able to get you the actual YouTube heading because it's in my history, but the video has been scrubbed. So anyway, what was your take on this whole Kirk debacle?
Yeah, I think I seen something too, maybe some video or something I was watching where I mean, I know a lot of times before stuff like this happens, they're like talking about it or showing it before it happens. There was like, which may not have been true or real, but they may have had something out before this even happened, which wouldn't surprise me at all. But uh, yeah, definitely, 100%. Like you said, they were there to see this public supposed execution. If it, like you said, if it was real or not, or however they possibly staged it. I mean, there was a lot of um, I know I mean, there was so many different people like in the beginning. They're like, "Oh, we got the shooter," whatever. And it was like some old guy, and like the shooters changed like 10 different times. And there's like 10 different shooters, and there's all these
Mm-hmm.
things that don't make any sense. And they were saying too, it wasn't of course, it wasn't an AR-15. It was a bolt action rifle or whatever. But uh, yeah, and then just the supposed assassination. Uh, Whether, like I said, it was real or not, or this was just who knows? Was it even Charlie Kirk? Was it even a real person being shot? Was it even him? Was it was it AI? Was it something else? And it's the fact that, like this, like they loaded him into just a regular vehicle or something. Maybe loaded him in an ambulance,
Mm-hmm.
just put him in a vehicle, and just and then of course too. I mean, you had the stabbing too on the train. The girl getting stabbed in the neck, and then he gets shot in the neck. So you have neck being the key thing here. Neck equals 33. 33 is all over this. I mean, the rituals and numbers are all over this. I mean,
Age of
um,
the shooter.
yep. Of course, neck 221 like Austin Jesuit, but yeah, it's just the numbers were all over it. Just a big facade, and and this is, and I've been saying too. I talk about all the time that this is going to be the new normal. These assassinations, or what appears to be real assassinations. Um, Obviously this one looked a lot more real, obviously, than the Trump clown show one over a year ago. The total fraud. That one, somehow people thought that was real. Still blows me away that people fell for that. But I could maybe see people falling for this. But I mean, like I said, hard to say. Who knows? I mean, just the way that the blood was and getting shot in the neck and how it looked, it did look weird. And there were some other weird things about it too that didn't look right. I mean, it could have been AI. Like I said, maybe it really wasn't even Charlie Kirk. Maybe it was who knows? When it comes to things like this, the level of deception they can use and pull to deceive people. But uh, yeah, there was just so much to it with, and again, how they've turned it into, people. Just kind of making it into a bigger thing to not only just the supposed assassination, but then you got people that are losing their jobs because of posting or celebrating, or people found out about stuff, or people getting fired, and just for all these different reasons, all these different things about it. So it's not just the event itself, but also what it's causing in society, of course. And you got people that see through it. Some people see that there's too many things that don't make sense. Uh, which I guess, I mean, that's honestly the best part, I guess, about this is that you do have a lot of people that do see that too many things here don't make sense, and they see it being more of a setup. But then again, you got a lot of people that, did think that it was 100% real and believe what they truly saw. And then, you got the division on the side with it, um, people both ways, whether they liked him or didn't like him, or whether they cared for him or not, or whether they feel bad about it or not. And then just the divide on all ends, people making it left, right, making it political and stuff. And um, yeah, and of course, it being just the day before 9/11 was our last show. We just did, uh, get ready for 9/11, and here's the new one. And this to me is really kind of the new one now, because like you didn't even hear about 9/11 on 9/11. It was this
Yeah.
story, of course. So um, again, I mean, last episode, we're talking 9/11, thinking 9/11, and then you kind of get the 9/10 now, the new 9/10 instead of the 9/11. This is kind of the new 9/11. So yeah, really nothing on 9/11. This is kind of the new one. And last year, like I said, we had the fake assassination with Trump, and I said these things are going to become they're going to start exploding, they're going to start happening, and this is another one. And again, they didn't want to really do the same thing with Trump. I know, because people just, I mean, I still don't know how they pulled it off last year and made people believe that was actually real. But they couldn't do the same thing again. They had to make this one look a lot more real. Uh, I still don't really think it was real, but it could have been. But I just think that it was probably, who knows. But again, I mean, it's a multifaceted agenda. I mean, and there's people too. I mean, when it first happened, people have kind of caught on in the last so many days, especially just the way this story is. Like you said, the Kirk debacle is really what it is. It's just the way nothing making sense, nothing even looking right. The way his body was, his hands, the neck, putting him into just a vehicle, not even putting him into an ambulance, just the way they went about it. Too much weirdness. And the numbers, like I said, were all over at 33, and um, so many other things. And then, of course, being tied in with the that girl getting stabbed on the subway. Of course, like I said, both were in the neck. So there's a lot to this. And I mean, it might not be too long before we get another assassination type thing like this, where something else goes down. But uh, yeah, and then just, Charlie Kirk. I mean, he was just yeah, he wasn't, one of the higher ups. He wasn't, one of those big politicians or up there. But I mean, he was, not definitely. He's definitely not where we are. Definitely far above us in those regards, where he sits on the big spear of things. So he was definitely one of them to a degree. And of course, playing the political divide, acting like it's real, acting like politics are real, and showing off the retarded Trump mega hats and stuff, and all the garbage he pushes and promotes and acts like is real. So he's definitely part of it. Or
Of
was
course.
part of it, if he's even still here or alive. Who knows? But yeah, it's just and it's like I said, this is a multifaceted agenda at a very interesting time, going into um the times we are, and now pushing more for, like I said, these more assassination, these more, they're just amping up what's going on. I mean, people, you know kind of forgot about the Trump assassination last year. Well, then this is really gonna bring it back in a big way. And anyone that did think that was real, then that's another reason I know they pulled this one off too, because they got to just make things just more of that. And like you said, with the high school shooter drill going on in the area, the way the story was just reported, with the shooter and all these different shooters that supposedly shot him, and then all these different people, all these pictures and stuff, and the way they're going about it. Um, yeah, nothing makes any sense, as usual. Yeah, it's just another clear, blatant ritual. But I mean, definitely wanted to really start things up with society. I mean, it's a great way to pit people against each other, left, right. Did you like him? Did you not? Are you happy he's gone? Are you not? And then just all the divides. Like I said, people losing their jobs right now, and that's going to cause more chaos in society, and that's going to cause more problems. So they wanted some ripple effects out of this one, and they definitely got them, and they're going to continue to get them, and especially with that girl getting stabbed in the neck on the train too. This is going to put people in a fear too. I mean, it's people getting killed, getting stabbed, getting attacked, and promoting fear and promoting people not being able to either own a gun or a knife or want to go outside or do anything. So this is, and like you said too, I mean, look at his other ones. I mean, barely anybody around. Look at this one. I mean, everyone was there. Got to have a big showing for Utah. So I mean, it was just, it was 100% staged and ready to go.
Great points. And yeah, especially with this whole train stabbing thing too. That I remember them making a huge deal about pizza. They just like, she worked at a pizzeria. She worked at a pizzeria. She works at a pizzeria, and just imagine getting off work at the pizzeria. Just like, what is pizzeria? I just, whenever the media says pizza 50 times, I'm like, oh boy, that's not good. Spell. Nascar. Is that how you spell pizza? Is that pizzeria? Maybe. That's a word I'm not used to spelling. Pizza. Pizzeria. Okay. Pizzeria. Okay, sure. That man's a weird. Oh, interesting.
Look at the same number. It's got the 110 and the 106 both ways. Exactly. You had it before.
Yeah. No, I saw that. But also Civil War, 56 and 43. A lot of people had mentioning Civil War after this thing, which is so funny that they're using a Ukrainian. She's not even technically an American citizen.
It's got the NASCAR numbers too. 56, the 106, the 43.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's like 3 out of 4 at NASCAR. So that'd be funny if the Civil War is just like Blaney versus Bubba.
Yeah.
But yeah, Civil War has been like a trending term on Google. It's like been put in Google more times this week than a crazy amount of time. But once again, that's just more fixes in. You could have a freaking, it's so ridiculous that would be something that they track when you could just have a robot. You could have 100 script writer programs running that literally just type into Google and refresh to drive up numbers. I'm saying if you want to think about it logistically, obviously all they have to do is say, oh, we are Google, we have the numbers. But I'm saying those numbers can be skewed so easily in their algorithms and stuff. So people don't buy the fear. Like everybody's looking up Civil War. Oh, just all of a sudden, oh no, Charlie Kirk died. I'm going to Google Civil War. I'm going to Google Civil War because Charlie Kirk died. It's just like, what are they trying? What? You think a lot of people are just Googling and saying Civil War after this? Over what? It was a white guy that they're saying shot him anyway. Or are you saying Civil War against trans people? That's going to be a quick war. That's going to be a 1 hour war. There's not that many. Jeez. and what's even more funny about it is how they're using this broken-minded people in this community as the scapegoats, because if you know what that is, you're top. It's like saying, what about the next shooter who has Down syndrome? What then? What's our reaction then? I'm not even trying to be funny, guys, right now. I'm saying I could see this happening in America. I could see them saying that one of these shooters is going to have some sort of issue like that. Then what? What debate is that going to spark? What are we going to do? Are we going to demand changes from the Down community, the Down syndrome community? There has to be something done. They're radicalized. So people aren't taking it for what it is. And what it is it's humanizing people. It's so funny. that they're using this tactic to humanize the movement. Think about that, guys. We're not approaching these people the way they need to be approached. They have mental issues that need to be talked about and fixed openly. They're cutting body parts off. If you saw a guy doing that on the side of the road, would you not call the cops? But when you go to work and there's Lisa, formerly Mike, you're just like, hey, girlfriend. But if you know it, what do you think took place there? What's the difference between the guy on the side of the road and the guy at the now female at your office? It's humanizing it. It's actually a negative aspect of humanizing things. It's like the way they try to humanize maps. It's like, oh no, there's some people that just can't fight their urges, and the people that do fight their urges, we should be on their side. We should be behind them and give them ways to fight their urges. It's just like, no, no one should find kids attractive, you dipshits. Don't start giving them leeway. What are we doing? What the fuck is going on? And I would say this if it was just like government top down, I would say, okay, this isn't reality. This isn't a good subsect of what real people would do, but that's not the case anymore, guys. I've seen people on a personal level we're all in the pigsty together, but there's some that still want to make it even harder to live in the pigsty. And those people are real. They're pigs. They're not like wolves in pig's skin. They are pigs, and they just have this weird, obviously they're brainwashed, and everybody's brainwashed. I'm running out of things to empathize with my fellow man with, by the way. I just got to say this. You're going to see, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, we're about to do our 1-year anniversary. And it's like, I bet if I were to make compilations later, like years down the line, I want to see like the mania. I want to see my mania. Like I guarantee you, I'm just going to skyrocket with my takes and my lack of empathy for my fellow man, which I'm not proud of it. I'm laughing because it's a little bit funny to me, but I don't want to have these thoughts and feelings. And like I said, it's not like I'm brainwashed by the media. I'm talking about anecdotal things. I'm talking about. I can watch a news segment and say that's BS. I can understand the BS that I see on the news. I can understand that they're trying to steer me certain ways. I'm talking about the people that take it in from a screen and then live it and push it onto other people. And there's just no prompt for them to do so other than the screen. And they're just, they spend their life is now automaton for the state. And there's so many people like that. And it's just rough to keep finding ways to say that they're saving. They're worth saving, that there's a way to save them, that they'd ever want to be saved, that they have this will within them to pull themselves up. And then you look across to the ones you love and the things that they need and the things that you need, and you're like, I can't prioritize these people. These people are what I'm trying to say is, who was far gone to me 10 years ago was like a rare person. Now it's way too many people. Do I find that they're just like, okay, how are there this many people that are just this far gone that it would take severe change in order for them to pull their head out of their ass and be anything for the fight ahead? It's scary. It's also a little bit funny. Not so much funny when I put it the way I just put it, but it's entertaining funny with how crazy it can get sometimes, especially the ones in real life, where it's just like, people really act this way, people really think this way. This is like, who the fuck has time for this?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's the thing. I mean, you look at the gay and the transgender stuff, like I always say, look how far it's come in such a short amount of time. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, I mean, you know, there was always gay and transgender people, but it wasn't like it was that uh, popular. You know, there was always those people, but you know, it was just kind of those people. Even like 20 years ago, that's kind of how it was. Maybe a little bit more, obviously, but you know, like in the last just 10 years, it's just exploded. I mean, it's absolutely just exploded. I mean, and it's and now too. I mean, you know, it's whatever people want to identify as. You know, you could be like me and say you're a woman. You know, I call myself Ostina. You know, like that's just who I am. I'm a woman. You're gonna deal with it. You know, I don't give a fuck. You know, it's like it, and that's just how it is. And then I mean, there's a lot of people you talk to and you know, it's amazing. You know, I was just talking to someone the other night, a couple nights ago, and too, they're a guy and they're the same age as me. They're 30 and they want to be a girl. They want to transition to a woman, but they don't have the money. So it's just like, you know, how many people out here, you know, even though they're not transgender or maybe they're not gay, but you know, if they had the money or they had uh the stuff to do it, they would do it, or they identify as that. So it's just like that's just where it's at. I mean, and then you just have the divide everywhere else. I mean, it was never like this before. I mean, this is the one thing that, you know, all the things in life that have, you know, where we are and how bad things have got. You know, I seen all this when I was a kid. I seen all this coming. Um, and I knew all this was coming. I knew it was heading this way, but like the gay and the transgender stuff and just the way people are and what they've done to themselves. I mean, this is the one thing I didn't see and I didn't understand and I didn't, you know, because it wasn't a thing. I mean, it wasn't a thing. And now you look at it and it's just um where it's gone and just like how it's just become just like, you know, what you identify as, what you want to be, or gender fluid. I mean, there's just so many of these people now, and it's just like, uh, you know, and I always say, you know, do what you want to do, be what you want to be. But I mean, these people are they've had the agenda just take them straight over. I mean, these are like I said, it's like looking at COVID or people before COVID. You look back at like 2019, that they were normal people all year, 2019 before. And then all of a sudden COVID happens and they're just a complete different person. They're just masked up. They're locked away. They were never the same. They just changed overnight. And that's what happened to these other people too. I mean, they've gotten down this rabbit hole and they've gotten into this stuff where it's just like, uh, you know, even if, you know, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they were normal, but now, uh, you know, the woman is a man or the man's a woman, or that's what they identify as. That's what they want to be. Or maybe they say they're transitioning or something. You know, you hear that all the time. Oh, I'm transitioning. It's like, yeah, I guess you're a transformer or something. I don't know. I guess I don't know. You know, it's just like, that's just where it's at. I mean, and I see it all the time. It's like people I don't know what I'm even looking at anymore. And then you just see, I mean, and we've talked about all the time, just the way that's the most. If you look at the most mental illness and the most depressed people, it's these people that are, for the most part. I mean, it doesn't mean, you know, if you're depressed, that's what you are, what you want to be, but or if you have depression or anxiety. But most people that do have all these mental problems, uh, most of them are these gay and transgender type people. I mean, not all of them. Some of them are just happy or whatever, but uh, and this is just what they've made society now. Everything is just whatever you want it to be, and it's just created this weaker and weaker society. And then of course now you have all the men come up that are, you know, weak and they're simps and stuff, and or they want to be women or whatever. So uh, yeah, it's a multifaceted agenda that's literally exploded in the last decade of life. I mean, you know, when I was younger, this stuff wasn't. You weren't even thinking about this stuff. I mean, you weren't thinking about genders and how many other places now. I mean, there's what, New York, it's like there's like thousands of different genders or whatever. It's just like thousands. It's like I always knew there was two. And if you mislabel someone, you get arrested and thrown in jail, and you get fined if you mislabel someone. When you got thousands of genders, it's like how it's like I it feels like I just woke up. It feels like I'm in a bad dream and I just can't wake up. It's just like that's what it feels like. I've just gone into this weird, wacky dream and I can't wake up. And it's like, nope, that's society now. That's the world. This is where we truly are. And it's just like it just blows me away how we've just allowed this to happen and just take over. I mean, it's just absolutely unfathomable. I mean, just definitely not what the world used to be in terms of people just being people. I mean, people used to just be people for the most part. Now, I mean, it's whatever you want to be, just identify as whatever, and that's just it, and just remain in your little bubble. It seems just the bubble world.
Yeah, it's funny you bring the misgendering thing up too, because anybody that has kids, or I don't know how old you guys are, but no, hopefully you guys aren't old and no kids without being parents. No, I'm just kidding. But right now, especially for high school, I mean, even when I was in high school, it's weird because I'm probably not as smart as I think I am. I just was smart compared to the curriculum, but and that is saying something, because most kids my age were not smart even compared to the curriculum. I'm not saying the curriculum is a good indicator. It's just an indicator of if you can sit down and shut up for the most part. That's the real lesson being taught. But I'm saying as far as the actual subject matter. So math, English, I was a great writer in high school. I was superb at math, um, things of that nature. So I was like, I was ahead of the curve in that aspect. But they were pushing people through even when I was in high school, dumbing down the classes and the requirements. They're dumbing it down even more nowadays. But funny you point that out. It's just like they're okay with you missing questions on, with your education. They're okay with you not knowing things when it comes to your education, but you gotta somehow. People don't know the 50 states. People definitely don't know the 50 capitals. Yeah. People definitely can't do the president. A majority of the presidents. Yeah, not to say that these things are wildly. Maybe the states and capitals are more important than just the presidents, but you get what I'm saying. But if you don't know at least 30 genders off the top, good luck, buddy. You might come across a femme cyber links and accidentally call them a femme kitty, and you're in big trouble if you call it. Yeah. I'm a femme cyber links. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That's the world we're moving towards. I have seen it. I have seen that type of thing take place where somebody is like a fairy. I'm a fairy. I don't know the terminology off the top, and I never will. But someone being off in like a small subsect of a way of something they shouldn't know. It wasn't like a fairy lady. It's like fairy lady is pretty easy. It's still, no one needs to call you that. That's bullshit. But I'm just saying, lady, you're close. I could start to remember some of those aspects. Not that I am or would or think anyone should. It's retarded, obviously. No more saying that. I think you guys get the picture. But missing something like that, it's like no one should be upset if someone misgendered that. But nowadays you got, I'm a Zimzam Zazooey in the back of the theater giving you a blowy. It's like, how the fuck am I going to remember that? You better fucking remember. And it's just, you got this like thing looking at you, and it's just like, there's nothing you could possibly respect about them. Demands usually, back in my day, demands, social demands had an equal respect factor. A big dude comes up to you, and even let's say he's even polite. You just have this like, that guy can grab, his hands are the size of my forearm. I need to not fuck with this guy. Like, there's certain things that are just like socially, there's certain things that are just, you understand. But it's like that guy just being who that guy is has some respect attached to it. Now he could be an asshole with that. And it's like, yeah, he might, demand respect right into getting shot. So, some little guy's not going to pick a fight with him in that way. But, if he's a dick and he's a big guy, odds are you might get injured in some other way, or something else might happen to you. Either way, credit fraud or something. Anyway, but you know, these social contracts that we used to have. Now you have a bunch of like frail, pale, and with a tail coming up to you, fucking telling you got to do shit for them. And it's just like, what the fuck? And then people are, it's like, why? And then you'll stroll by and you'd be like, hey, can you hold the door? And they're just like, look back and don't give a shit about you. I'm just like, I pay taxes. Not that paying taxes is a good thing, but you know, I contribute to society. I work. I do the things I'm supposed to be doing. And there's a guy over here with a butt plug tail and cat ears, and everybody wants to know his story. It's just like, and if you say his story, he'll tell you exactly how wrong you are by calling him a his. But it's just like this crazy upside down bubble bizarro world, like you said. And it's only going to get crazier. And this is a bit off topic, but not really, because once again, like I said, this shooter guy is linked. His roommate was a transgender, and they're making it part of the trans agenda. And this is right off the heels of the church shooting with the pigtail, the lady with the real strong jaw. She had a real strong. She was a very handsome woman. Let me put it that way. And I never mind these all being on the up and up and real. Like I said, these are faces, and a lot of these, it's just like, wow, social media. Look at how far we've come. They'll scrub their social, not scrub, but they'll scour through these people's social medias to post what they were saying hours before they did what they did. But there's no new pictures. These people are the way they make these people out. First of all, transgender people, they're extremely vain. That's like the number one problem they have with their ego is their vanity. Don't get it twisted. They might want to skewer what they're seeing because what they see is skewered, but they want to make it better in their mind. It has to do with making themselves better. That's called vanity. So that is the number one issue. But they're not taking pictures on their social media. All we have are grainy 8th grade photos. It's like, and then of course all you got to do is go to thispersonisnotreal.com to ground yourself and just really just remember, none of these people are more than likely real. And just it almost bleeds into the 9/11. How everybody knew somebody on 9/11 in the weeks after 9/11. Everybody knew an aunt or an uncle that, oh, my aunt, she was gonna get on the plane. It's like, no, she wasn't. No one you knew had anything to do with it. We're in Portland, Oregon. You got Cambodians, you know, just being like, oh my God, I can't do Cambodia. Why did I pick Cambodia? But anyway, you know, you got Cambodians being like, oh my God, they were flying to Cambodia before they made a left turn and went to New York. It's just like, bitch, how far is this craziness going? No, they didn't. No one did. You have all these people like I said, humanizing these things. They're actually giving legitimacy to things that don't deserve it. And it's crazy. I'm just putting it this way for the first time. I'm hoping this catches on with people because it's starting to make more sense to me just like talking it out. I'm just that smart. No, but I'm kidding. But seriously, humanizing thing is actually a bad thing. You can go wrong humanizing things. You know, you look at the rhetoric when it comes to transgender and gay and all these things. They'll say it's dehumanizing the things that are against them. Well, it's like, is that because you're gay or is that because you're human? You know how many dehumanizing things I have to face on a daily basis? Taxes, all the things we normally face are dehumanizing. What is it? If I stick my pecker in a car door, it doesn't make me any more dehumanizing because someone doesn't call me a carmo or a. That was a bad example. But anyway, it has nothing to do your sexuality. Who cares? That's extra. That's you. Only you care about that, and whoever you're doing it with. That's the only people involved. Why should anyone else be involved, no matter what it is? And I say no matter what it is with an asterisk. Don't go crazy, guys. Obviously, I'm not condoning anything out of the bounds of morals. But not to say that these things aren't immoral, but what I mean is I'm not the arbiter of anyone else's life, so that's not what I'm talking about. They can do whatever they want in that regard. Doesn't mean I'll encourage them to do it, but that's about as far as I go. Anyway, yeah, the humanizing epidemic, the humanizing epidemic is really, that might be the title. Is rampant. It's crazy. They humanized coronavirus. They humanized they humanized Fauci. Like, that's how fucked up our society is. And I'm saying our society. I'm not talking about the computer society. I'm talking about people I knew in my own life. I lost friends. I lost respect for so many people that had at least the base level of respect, my level of respect. But then there was those I actually respected as close friends as well, that I had to watch this like transformation to an insufferable Karen masked Karen. It sounds like a retarded villain or something. But anyway, yeah, humanizing can definitely go too far.
Yeah, and it's absolutely has. I mean, in our time, I mean, when I was in school, there wasn't any of the gay, transgender stuff, and then it's like the year I get out, and then a year later, it's like exploding, and it's just like, and then I just always look around. I'm just like, well, who's dropping the ball? How are they allowing this? Where is it even coming from? I mean, for it not even to be a thing, and then it just blows up into everything, and it's like you said, exactly 100% with COVID, and even like 9/11. How these things, people just, I mean, they're totally fine, totally normal. And then these things come about and then they're just 100% behind it. They're 100% with it. All they care about is, how much, they can, you know, get behind Anthony Fauci and all these scumbags and all these dummies and listen to them. And then it just becomes, it's, it's just like I said, people, I always I couldn't stand Dr. Oz, that scumbag,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Oz. And it's just like all these people, all these years coming home. And then we listen to, back in like 2010, they listen to Dr. Oz. But then look, he's got his point. He's got his time cut up in 2020 because he's going to be the guy that tells you, oh, yeah, Anthony Fauci, Donald Trump, Operation Warp Speed, get your jab, social distance, COVID's going to kill you, lock yourself away, do what you got to do. He's going to push this, and that's going to be the guy. And it's just like how people just succumb to these things. I mean, it's like I said last week, 9/11, how many people I know that I've always talked to through the years say they know somebody that was in the towers. I know someone that was in the towers. Well, there must have been millions and billions of motherfuckers in the towers then. Thousands of people know. Millions and billions of people were in the towers. Millions of billions of people died because just everyone I knew just had someone in the tower. So I mean, most population lived in the towers, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's just how it is. It's amazing. It's just they push something in front of you that it doesn't matter who it is or what it is, and people don't want nothing to do with it. They don't like it, and then it's like the worse they make something, and the more dumb and stupid and pathetic it is, the more people are gonna love it and worship it and get behind it. I mean, look at people they couldn't stand Donald Trump a decade ago. Oh, what's this loser doing? Says he's running for president. I can't stand the guy. Look at these people now. They love him. They got the Trump MAGA going. They took their jabs. They took their, and maybe they didn't even like him the first time. Maybe they like him right now, or they're getting on his side now. It's just like, and even like with stuff like COVID. I mean, maybe you knew 9/11 was garbage. You didn't fall for that, but then maybe they got you with COVID. Maybe they just the way they set that up, it's like, well, I can't be the only guy not wearing a mask. I can't be the only one not getting the jab. I mean, I can't stand on my own. It's got to be real. And then that's how they do it. I mean, any way they can get you to submit to them and just look as dumb and useless and pathetic as possible. That's what they do. And just, it's amazing how many people just keep uh, cycling in and funneling into this stuff. And, we got the newest form of it this week with Charlie Kirk and all the other crap that's coming with it. And this is what they just do. It's just amazing. I mean, it's just, people that seem like they're normal, they're fine. And the opportunity presents itself, and then these people just they see it for a second or a minute or an hour or just a little bit, like give the sliver of it, and it's like, oh, yep, I'm totally becoming gay. I'm totally becoming transgender. I'm definitely I like men now. It's just like, well, you were just fine yesterday. You were fine a week ago. You're fine a month ago. It's like, what happened? It's just like, and that's that could lead to a whole other discussion too. Just thinking of what is even going on. Just spells and spelling and magic and curses and energies, frequencies, vibrations, all the stuff that is going on around us. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt where you.
Yeah, and too, I mean, even and it's just like all this talk of like AI and all this stuff. But you look at right now, it's like you really look at it. I mean, AI right now is like the least of our worries. Like the last thing to worry about, the least of our worries is AI right now with everything going on. I mean, everything that's going on right now, to my own personal life, what's going on with me, to what's going on in the world. It's like AI is just starting. AI is just beginning. We have all these other problems. We got all this stuff to deal with and worry about. And then it's like that's coming on the back end, that's coming on the back burner. But it's like look in front of you, look right here, look right now, look how bad just this is. We don't even get to that yet. That's just coming. That's just starting. Like, look here, that's the part that should have everybody just like terrified. Like, what does 10 more years look like? What is another 10 years from now? What does that possibly look like? And then just like I said, I mean, obviously, I think we're going into that, what they always say, a dark winter or whatever, that type of deal where they've been conjuring it up forever that these winters are just going to be, one of these winters is going to be so bad. And there's so much right now that they're building towards in the upcoming weeks and months right now as we shift into fall. Next episode will be the first one of fall, technically, if you go by their calendar system. So technically the last one of summer, depending how you look at it. But yeah, that's what I see just coming right now. It's just who knows how many. I mean, it seems like we're like one step away or a step or two away from just people just outright just losing their minds, just going crazy over or just taking part of whatever they want, just that total mind control, that hive mind that they incorporate with all these every single time. It's just they find a way to just get people sucked in and torn apart and doing damage. And it's just they're right now they're just conjured up the next one. Whenever it's coming, it'll be here before we know it.
Absolutely. And especially when we when we assign some level of authority, it's like one thing that government and the media demands a level of authority without having to earn it, like kind of like the social contract. They bypass the social contract because your brain has been programmed from a young age to naturally assign authority to the TV talking heads. So they have this like sense of automatic authority. And then you got guys like Bo Mason telling you all the details about the Charlie Kirk assassination because he's the Utah Department of Public Safety. So you got a guy like Bo Mason, and it's just don't worry about the name. Just he's there. He'll tell you all the details. Just listen up. He was 33 years old. Okay, the manhunt lasted 33 hours. Okay, don't worry about what's wrong with it. It's a beautiful number. A beautiful number.
Real number.
They found my boy's killer in 33 hours. Is a beautiful number.
A beautiful number.
So yeah, I mean, you got Cox, the governor, because they're just shoving that thing in your face, telling you to. Anyway, yeah, it's just more. They love doing this with we have the shooter's named Tyler. Of course, you had the Mangione fiasco where Tyler Fry caught him at the McDonald's. He's like, "Can I get a Big Mac with that? Can I get a Big Mac from my boy Fry?" we could just go on and on. The list is I think you guys are really gonna like the thumbnail this week. I think it's pretty good, but yeah, I almost want to make a like a mash. I won't. I don't want to spoil the thumbnail, but the idea of like a video game where you pick like a mass shooter. This is really bad. This is people might be offended by it, but like I've said before, a fence that goes nowhere. I'm not talking about a fence, but a personal offense that goes nowhere. That doesn't, it's one thing to be offended by someone coming onto your property and doing things you don't want them to do and not listening to you, to your immediate authority in the space you have authority. Everywhere else, be offended in your head. That doesn't do anything. It doesn't. No one is responsible for your level of offense. That's not how the world works. And if it did work based off monitoring those things, we're going to be in. Never mind 1984. We're going to make 1984 look like a parade, look like a carnival.
Yeah.
Or maybe a cruise or more, but so anyway, so yeah, I just think the idea of like a video game where you like pick one of these like crooks and you get yeah, I don't know, that's fucked up. I'm not talking myself out of it, but I just think there's going to be such a lineup for these like. Because think about it. Can anyone name a single person that was killed by one of these mass shooters? If you were to go on the street and ask anybody, what's the name of the guy who shot Charlie Kirk? They'd be like, Tyler Robinson, whatever. What's the name of the guy that tried to shoot Trump? That was Thomas Crooks. Who's the firefighter that got shot? Name one of the kids that died at the church shooting. Who's the girl that went up and shot that school that no one was in, but they said like 3 people died and 3 were injured? Natalie Rapinoe. Okay, name one of the kids that died. You see what they're doing? How like in all serial killer movies, it's like there'll be a scene with the investigators where they're just like they debate whether or not to even put any information out because they don't want to add to the ego of the serial killer, because they can tell that he's doing it for his ego and he wants his ego stroked and he wants them to know what he's doing, and that he's leaving them clues and he's just leading them along, shit like that. Like I can think of several movies that have done that. Like Seven was a one where that was like that. Anyway, what's in the box? Anyway, but they do that openly. They just make these guys celebrities. Have you ever seen the rise of a celebrity faster than Luigi Mangione? All he had to do was like, first of all, that's not the guy who was in the photos. But whoever that guy is, he's an instant celebrity. Every time he comes out of jail, he's like fresh out of jail. And he's just like, I know, from what I know, they do allow you, especially when the court appearances, and I think they even force you to shave and clean up as well. But anyway, it's just he looks like he hasn't spent a day in jail. His hair's like permed. It's like, whoa, who permed your hair in jail? You must have a female name in prison, and you must be Princess Peach. Out in the real world, you're Luigi, but in prison, you're Princess Peach. Anyway, because it's like, who's doing his hair? Like I can only imagine like him and his cellmates in there just like doing each other's hair and gossiping. What the fuck? Prison's gay. I mean, prison's always been gay, but I mean, it's like, anyway. At least we got the real homie Bo Mason. We got Mason and Cox on the case, so only took them 33 hours to apprehend the 5th suspect, and this one they got right, because what did they do? They engraved bullets. Fucking who's buying this shit? Who, like, Why are they engraving their bullets? What is going on? Who the fuck does anything like this? It's just, if people can't pull their head out of their ass and realize that these guys are terrible at coming up with plots that are believable, and so they just have to give you something that they think in their minds you can't refute, because nobody can refute 9/11, not even me. I can't refute it in court. Do you understand what I mean? I can't refute it in court. No one can. They are the court. They are the ones that made it. I wasn't in the room when they made it. I don't have video evidence that they were all in a room making it. I don't have video evidence of the planes there or whatever they used. Nobody has that. But you can refute it. You can know it's not real. You can know these things. You can't physically and legally refute it. But the same goes for this. No one is going to have access to the firearm or the bullets that these people are using. No one's ever going to see pictures of the engraved bullets that they pulled out of the victim's carcass as they do it. And I know, and these things seem morbid and crazy, but when in the state that we're living in, you remember the cartel beheadings that were like one of the first things about like when the internet became prevalent, and with videos, how, you started instantly getting dark web videos of beheadings and killings, and it became this really dark thing. If those were real, it's crazy. You can look back on that time and say that was a psyop to get people to shy away from seeing death. Because nowadays, we should see I'm not saying I want to see it. I'm not saying this is something I want. It's something that needs to be seen. If it's real, it needs to be obvious that it's real. Not just listening to Bo Mason. Not listening, you know what I mean? Not listening to your governor and the president and and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. It's like that. I hope you guys understand what I mean, and don't just take me as like some like. And this is just another version of my aunt's boyfriend's dog's hair designer was in 9/11. It's another version of that where you'll have so many people that are so repelled from that thought that they can't understand the logical side of it. They'll see the emotional, oh my gosh, death. Give the people mourning time. Give the celebrities time to mourn. It's like, imagine demanding something in the real world with no proof for what had possibly happened. Imagine you just go up to everybody and say somebody died. You don't have to prove it. They don't know who you are. They don't know the ins and outs. But like, then you also demand a certain level of privacy or other things on top of that. It's just, there's nothing like that. But when they say somebody died, there doesn't have to be proof. There doesn't have to be anything. When the tragedy happens, there doesn't have to be proof. There doesn't have to be anything. And they can just demand things of the citizenry. And people will hold that up saying, oh, don't be cruel. They're mourning. They think of the parents, think of the babies, it's like, yes, in real situations, 100%. Yes. I can only imagine if these things were real happening to me. Yes. But I am not a government entity. I am not, you know what I mean? People don't have like logical, they can't split these things from like a personal thing to them to something that is not personal, to something that is outside of their sphere that is obviously manipulated. It's another one of those like it's a part of the ego that's the same thing as like main character syndrome. This is a version. It's like these people are so diverse from reality that they don't consider themselves, they're like timid and they're bashful and they're low on themselves. So they're not the main character. But when it comes to like how everyone should be, it's like they feel like they have some sort of say in that, like they are the main character, like they're like we're all the NPCs, and they're the it's this weird topsy turvy thing we got to dance around with the average person, and it's something that needs to go. I'm not saying everybody needs to just want to see the dead bodies as proof. It just means that you can't just say, oh, randomly we've been going on a manhunt, took us 33 hours, we found this trans linked guy with a rifle, and he engraved the bullets just like the other trans did. Just like, oh no, are we going to see a rise in trans shootings with engraved bullets? And is there like a subreddit that they're doing? Are they QAnon? What's good? It's like, and we're just turn it off. Don't say anything, but don't believe it. You don't have to believe. No one's forcing you to believe it. No one's forcing you to act on it. No one's forcing you to go along with it. So don't.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. I mean, like I always say, if they're wearing a suit and tie, they're telling you a lie. I mean, anybody like us that goes out and says stuff like this, it's like, well, who the fuck are you? It's like, well, where's your suit and tie? Where's your professionalism? How come you don't have millions and billions of followers and millions and billions of dollars? Why should I trust you? I trust Anthony Fauci. He's older. He's got more experience. He's wearing a suit and tie, and he's a lot more professional than you, Austin. And see, he knows what he's talking about. You don't know anything. You're just saying stuff. You're dumb. It's just like that's just how it is. I mean, that's why they got these people in these roles. They're generally always older people. They got the money, or they got the views. They're in the right spot. They're older. They got what appears to be credentials. It's like, look, Trump's a businessman, Austin. He's worth millions and billions of dollars. Where's your millions and billions? You don't got shit. Why should I listen to you? And where's your suit and tie? Where's your professionalism? That's what people want. They want things all just given to them and handed to them a certain way for it to be authentic, for it to be real, and for people to get behind it. It's like, yeah, I used to watch Dr. Oz every day, Austin. I used to go home and listen to him every single day. I believe everything he says, Austin. He's a great doctor. He's worth millions of dollars. That's why he's so smart, and he knows what he's talking about. And that's why I went out and I got 20 Johnson & Johnson's shots, and I got 20 Johnson & Johnson's in my mouth, because it's just he's the best guy ever for advice, Austin. He's got a show. He's worth millions of dollars. He gives the best advice on everything. If I got a question, I go to Dr. Oz. And it's like, yeah, and they got their 21st Johnson & Johnson shot, and then it killed them. It's like, and then that's how it just goes out. And then they just cycle through the next person. It's like, oh, Dr. Oz is out of it. Now it's Charlie Kirk's turn. Now it's this person's turn. It's this guy's turn, and then it's just whoever they want to stick on the stage, and it's just people just going to keep going for it. That's where the majority of people are at. Majority of people are following these types of people, and it's just when does it change? When does it end? When do we get these people that are like this to get enough people to see through it, just to get them away and out of there? And I do believe that the Charlie Kirk thing was kind of a big litmus test for that in a way, but there's definitely a lot more to be said about it. And like I said, this is something that's not going to go away anytime soon. There's going to be another mass shooting or another assassination type deal coming down the line, and who knows who and what it's going to be next time, and how it's going to play out. And it seems like some people, at least enough people, seem like they kind of see this as a psyop, and they see too many things don't make sense, and there's too many angles and tangles and stuff like that. But I feel like this has got to be kind of the turning point, if you will, where people just have to not follow these upper echelon type people. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's just like anybody that's like promoting politics, the left, right, promoting Trump, got these retarded Trump hats. It's like, and people to take this guy seriously. It's just like, well, this is what you're going to get at his event. You're going to get something like this. I mean, this is where these things are going to brew. I mean, it's just you see right through it. But most people are still, they don't quite see through anything really. There's still a lot of people are still stuck. They still think that everything they see is 100% legit, and they're it's just like they don't understand. They don't see the deception. They don't see. And like I said, I don't know exactly what happened. I'm never gonna know exactly what happened. That's how it always is with all of these. We never are gonna know exactly what happened to Kurt Cobain. What happened to Kurt Cobain? We don't know. What happened on 9/11? What made 9/11 go down the way it did? We'll never know. COVID. How exactly did they pull all this off? I mean, we all these questions we don't have answers to, because, like you said, it's like when you're talking about the courts. Like, we're not the one doing this. The people that are making these laws, making these rules, behind all these events, they're the ones doing it. That's why they never get caught. That's why they got these same people, all the time in their suits and ties, and got the views, the followers, the money. They got it all, and then they just put these people up there, and it's going to be their talking head, and everyone's going to go for it because that's just who they're going to trust in. They're not going to trust into someone like us, because it's like, well, we're looked at as like, well, who the fuck are we? Like, why would anybody listen to you? It's just like that's just the way it is. So until that changes, until you get people like us, where like we could be talking to a ton of people at the Utah place. We could be talking to crowds like that, but when you're like us, you're not going to get those crowds. You're not going to draw those crowds unless you're one of them, or you're in on an event, or an event is about to happen. And that's exactly what did take place.
Well said. And I posted a little question there for anyone making it this far. What's your guys' take on this whole thing? And feel free to go off on a tangents, whatever, which way you see, because there's a lot of different ways to talk about these types of things. It doesn't have to be just Charlie Kirk that we're talking about. It's like the idea behind it as well, the context of political assassinations or assassinations at all. Like I said, I see a lot of it having to do with violence on screens being plunged into people's put in people's face, and the idea of the execution at the town square. I see that symbology taking place, but besides that, I do want to leave, if anyone pays attention to this, give some homework. I'm going to dig around a little bit, because I watched a video, and this is another thing that I can't find now, but I watched a video that had dated and time-stamped. I can't remember. I think it was from his Twitter, or it could have been somebody else's Twitter, but it was like a verified account a week before the assassination, saying that Charlie Kirk died. Like, it was like announcing his death like a week before. And then it was
That's
just like,
what I think I saw too. I think that's what I was talking about.
I looked for
saying
it, but that's how they do it. This has been such my problem with like research, especially when I used to do like heavy research on like the past and decoding things in the past, and other things too, like technologies. Like, I still remember doing like the Jet Propulsion Laboratories and things of that nature, because they're doing the whole like cryogenically freezing people. They're a subsidiary. Anyway, looking into things, they systematically add stories on top of what, like, names and headlines that are going to muffle up. They're going to bury what you're looking for. Case in point, just looking up, trying to Google Charlie Kirk announced dead before he died. It's like even the AI comes up, and there's no story set. There's no such a story, but there is something that happened on September 10th. Bitch, I know about that, you dumb duh. But anyway, yeah, give you guys some homework if you guys can find those videos that had that as well, because I wanted to add it to the presentation here, the half presentation, but I just don't have it. I would have had really good stuff to show you guys. Like I said, it got scrubbed, and then I couldn't find this other thing that had Charlie Kirk being announced dead a week before this happened. So yeah, I'll leave you with that little bit of homework. And also, want you guys' 3-page essays on whether or not this was real or staged by Monday. But yeah, until next time, guys, thank you for sticking around. And I will do one quick shout out because he did get back to me, and hopefully he will be able to make next week, which, by the way, is next Sunday is the day he's being buried. So bound to be some more story muffled around and injected into his burial services, as they like to do with prominent people. But yeah, everybody check out King Richard if you haven't already. He's been putting out great videos on this whole thing, along with Zach from Gematria Effect News. We talk about all the time. But hopefully we have King Richard on for our next episode, and we'll be breaking this down even more in depth, and it'll be fitting with his burial being next Sunday. But until then, guys, thanks for hanging out with us, and look forward to your comments and seeing you guys next week. Later.
Peace.